Hey, what is up YouTube? thyAshes here, bringing you another video. Today we're going to be doing our 2K review and power ranking video. You guys are used to this series by now. You know what you clicked on, so without further ado, let's go ahead and switch in to our screen that shows us the brackets from yesterday's 2K tournament. So as you can see in front of me, I do have the brackets, and we're going to talk about some of the more important and interesting matches that took place during yesterday's 2K. Now, yesterday, the entire 2K finished in one night. I don't believe there's going to be a fight night, but let's talk about some of the interesting matches. So as you guys are aware, round 4 is the top 16. Round 5 would make your top 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's kind of where you draw the line of how well a team is placing in these tournaments. In our round 4, which are the matches that take place to put you into the top 8, Ghost Gaming took on a team called Static. This is Chubbs' team, so not much of a surprise that you see Ghost Gaming making their way up there. Now Vex, for those of you who don't or aren't aware, there was a lot of discussion on Twitter this week about the Vex Gaming team grinding a lot of PCL matches to put themselves in a more advantageous position and a better seed come time for the 2K tournament, and it worked. It gave them the 9th seed, as you can see right here, and they did have Strangulate playing on their roster, who was recently released from a different roster as of last week. So it was interesting to see how they did in this 2K tournament, if that work and that grind into the PCL ladder actually paid off for them. They ended up playing against Allegiance in the round to put them in the top 8, and they fell short, so that gave them a top 16 finish. Allegiance versus Ghost Gaming, a lot of people were excited to play this match, or to watch this match, sorry, but it kind of looked like Allegiance wasn't really in their element. They're, again, the same issues internally, and sort of coming from the same player. In fact, there was a comment made about how the player wasn't really feeling it right now, and how they didn't even care if they won or something like that by the time it got to the second map. So it was a pretty one-sided match. I think Ghost won the entire series 14-2, 7-0 on first map Foundation, 7-2 on second map Reclaimed, which put Ghost Gaming into the semifinals, the top 4. United took on this team's Speedrunners. This is Godfections, Flamsy, Munchies, Pell, Situate. So one of those teams that you kind of see floating around that 16 to 12 position, and United obviously took the win over them. That put them in a matchup against Fire and Ice, who had just beaten Excite going into that. That is this team with Kraz, Heza, so on. So that team is sticking together. And I think Excite is the org that they recently signed to. I've never heard of the org, but so congratulations to them. But Fire and Ice took that, so that put Fire and Ice and United in the round 5. Fire and Ice falls short against United. It was actually a really close match. So Fire and Ice came out swinging. They won 7-2 on Foundation, and then United managed to make a comeback on Lift and win 7-6. And it honestly shouldn't have happened, but you know, it is what it is. And then Ice wins the last map tiebreaker Forge Blitz 7-6 as well, which put them into the top 4 and match up against Ghost Gaming. In the lower side of the bracket, we played TBD. I don't think that was too much of a noticeable team, musics and so on. That wasn't really much of a match. And then we played against Gorilla, or Gorilla Gang, as they're showing up. This is Aspire. This was a little bit of a closer match, but even still, you could definitely tell there was a skill gap between the teams. So we won 7-3 on Foundation, 7-4 on Dam, so it was a pretty clean 2-0 for us. And then down here in the bottom, this is where it starts to get a little bit more interesting. So Red Reserve went up against this team, 88 Chambers, which is the sponsor of the team with Domes, Clouts, Firearm, Neglect, and I don't remember the last person, Witchy. So that team took the win over Red Reserve. It was pretty interesting. So basically, Domes' team, or 88 Chambers, won 7-5 on Lift. Red Reserve came back and won 7-6 on Reclaim second map, and then third map Forge Blitz. 88 Chambers won 7-4, which put them into the top 8 for this week, and up against Echo Fox, who had a pretty easy bracket. And actually, surprisingly enough, 88 Chambers kind of came out swinging against Echo Fox as well. They didn't exactly win a map, but first map Foundation was 7-6, and I heard there was some choking happening. Second map was 7-5, and they had a 5-2 lead. So 88 Chambers actually had a 5-2 lead on second map and lost 5 rounds straight to Echo Fox on Harbor. So, you know, maybe on a different day, maybe if 88 Chambers had worked out a few more things, that could have been a 2-0 for 88 Chambers. Or maybe Echo Fox was just out of their element at that moment. Who knows? But either way, it was a good showing by the 88 Chambers. Even though they only took top 8, they definitely could have done more. They could have caused an upset. So you got to keep your eye on that team. So going into the semifinals, you have United versus Ghost. This was another pretty interesting matchup. I didn't get to see the exact scores of the maps, but I know that there was a point where United was up on Lift and Ghost managed to come back, and then it went to a 6-6 round on Lift. This was, I believe, the first map. It was 6-6, and United had the lead, and they lost a fight on the hill that they needed to hold, their own home hill, allowing Ghost to break it at 209 points and get the 3 cap for the win. Round 13, first map. So that really swung the momentum in Ghost's favor, and I believe Ghost ended up winning 2-0 over United, putting them in the grand finals, awaiting the winner of us and Echo Fox. Our team was playing really well yesterday. We were finally getting back into form, back into shape. We changed up our mentality towards the game and towards practicing, and we're putting in a lot more work this last week, and it showed in this tournament. So against Echo Fox, we played first map Reclaimed, we won 7-4. Second map was Harbor, and we won 7-5. Now, obviously, there were still mistakes that we had to reflect on and stuff like that in those maps, but we were playing really well, and we were doing our thing, playing our game. So I was really proud of the guys for how they showed up. And then because there's of no fight night, we had to play Ghost Gaming in the finals right after that. So we're looking at like 1 a.m. type matches. This is where the grind gets real. This is where the endurance shows. And we took on Ghost Gaming first map Dam. Well, we won 7-3. And then second map was Reclaimed, and we won that map 7-4. So overall, it was really good play by the guys. They played how they need to play. They played how they have the potential to play, and they've had the potential to play. We finally found our groove, or we're starting to find our groove. It's just a matter of continuing to work hard to make that a consistent again. Pretty interesting 2K. GG's to everyone that we played. And now for the most important part of the video that you guys all look forward to, the power rankings. So going to go ahead and draw the usual numbers that we put over here on the side of the screen. Remember that we're only doing the top 8 teams for North America, in my opinion. I'm not counting Latin American teams. I'm not counting European teams, just because it's hard to do the comparisons. So at number 1, last week I had Echo Fox. This week I have to give it back to my guys. I have to put OpTic Gaming in number 1 spot. We obviously won the 2K. We won in a dominant fashion, 2-0ing everybody that we played. We didn't lose a map the entire tournament, is my point. And we played well. The maps were pretty decisive wins, other than like the 7-5 on Harbor against Echo Fox. So I have to give it to us. I feel like that's fair to say. Number 2, I'm going to put Echo Fox. I think we really just kind of swapped spots there. Echo Fox didn't look as good as they had the week before. So maybe they're in a little bit of a funk yesterday. It's hard to tell. I think some of them are moving and dealing with all that, so maybe there's some external distractions. But either way, I think for this current power rankings, that's a fair put OpTic Gaming at number 1, Echo Fox at number 2. I still think Echo Fox is a better team than Ghost. I think yesterday, if Echo Fox and Ghost had played each other, Echo Fox would have won that match. So I'm going to put Ghost at number 3. Outside of those top 3, which seems to be the consistent top 3 that we're finding, I have to find a number 4. United definitely showed up and performed better this week. So I think that's going to be the obvious go-to for this one. I think Allegiance is starting to show their flaws more and more, and I think that's going to cause them to D-rank. I had DeFazio's team in the top 8, and I think they only placed top 16. I don't even know which team they were in this, because team names, people don't use team names. So I think for number 4, I'm gonna have to give it to United. They showed up and they played when they needed to, and they showed a lot more composure this week than they had the previous week. They put up a fight against Scuf Gaming. They honestly could have taken the series against Scuf Gaming if they had just won Lift. They would have carried that momentum into the second map, and maybe that series would have been a little bit different. Number 5, this is going to be a little bit more tough. You've still got Allegiance up here. You've still got Fire and Ice. You've still got this team Gorilla Gang. You've got Domes' team 88 Chambers. But I think I'm going to give it to Fire and Ice. I think that they showed definitely some of their grit. They're still sticking with it. They're still consistently placing up here in the top 8. So I think I have to put them up here at number 5. Below them, I would put 88 Chambers. I think this is kind of like the big change for this week, making their way into the top 8. I don't think I had them in the top 8 last week. I don't quite remember, but definitely putting them at number 6 just because of how well they played against everybody they played against, and including Echo Fox. So props to them. It'll be interesting to see how they do next week, if that's a consistent thing, if they iron out the kinks. This Gorilla Gang team, aka Aspire, they're still up here. Allegiance, Red Reserve fell short, so I don't know where I can put Red Reserve. So I'm kind of at a dilemma here because I've got 2 spots left and I've got 3 or 4 teams that I need to consider. I think the first team I'm going to put down is Allegiance. I still think that they're a strong team. I think that if they solve internal issues, they'll be a good team. It's just a matter of ironing out these players who are struggling with their own, I guess, demons, I'm going to call them, their own attitude problems, and if they can conquer that in a competitive atmosphere. And then for the number 8 spot, I think I'm going to have to give it to Gorilla Gang. I feel like Gorilla Gang came out and showed their worth a little bit, which is Aspire. They kind of made their way back into the top 8. I don't know how a matchup between those two would have worked, Red Reserve and Aspire. That's kind of the main question, is who would have won that head-to-head. And the way Red Reserve was playing yesterday, I would have to give it to Aspire or Gorilla. So I'm just going to go ahead and give it to them. And I'm going to call them Aspire so you guys know who I'm talking about, if you're just, you know, watching what names I write down. So that's going to be your top 8 power rankings for this week. Obviously, these are based off my opinions, based off the scrims and the 2Ks and whatnot. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like and let me know in the comments below what your top 8 is, what you think of my top 8, so on and so forth. Let's get the discussion going. And obviously, subscribe while you're down there, guys. I appreciate the support, and I will see you all in the next video.